welcome to a brand new solo Mark My Words episode. I am Mark Schmidt, and thank you for taking some time out of your day today to listen to this solo episode. Speaking of time, that is actually the topic of discussion for this episode. It's a topic I've thought a lot about doing an episode for, and if you followed me when I had a blog, I actually wrote a whole blog piece on time and how precious time is. And I don't necessarily want to sit here and preach about what you, the listener, can do to manage your time better or ways that you can think about how you're managing time or using your time or preach about anything really. I think I just want to talk and speak to my experience with time because there have been a few things that have happened over the course of my life that have really made me think about, whoa, time is flying by pretty quick. I know sometimes when we're reflecting back on our lives, we may not feel that way, but there are other times where you really take stock and you think about how long ago something has been, or maybe how quickly your summer went or vacation went, whatever the case may be, how quick a year flew by, and you just don't really sit back and think about how precious your time is. And I know really one of the first awakenings of how precious time is that I can remember, for me at least, was on 9/11. And I didn't know anybody who died on that day, but living about 2 hours-ish or so from every single incident that happened that day and really just watching everything unfold on TV and then looking at where I was in life at the time. I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be in life. I had dropped out of college a couple years before, and I was just working at I wasn't even working at the woodworking factory at that point. I was working somewhere else. But I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. I wasn't living my life the way I wanted to be living it. And when I saw all those lives get taken away that day, I think the real effect that that day had on me was, whoa, I don't want to get to be 45, 50 years old or so and feel like I hadn't done everything that I can do to live the best life that I can live and have the most fulfillment that I can have. Because when I saw on TV during that time, I saw a lot of people who were living their dreams and living very good lives and had people who were having very good lives because of them. It just all got taken away. And that had a huge impact on me when I really thought about that. And it was a big reason why I went back to college and ultimately why I have done a lot of the things I have done with my life. I moved away from home, and it really just made me think about, boy, I should really just try to go for it in life and really just go after what I'm dreaming about, because at that point, I really wasn't. Dropped out of school, was working just making minimum wage. I wasn't really doing much outside of that. And really, that's a big reason why I have this podcast and why I'm doing what I'm doing today, because of the effect I think that time in my life had on me, and to just see how precious time is. I have a friend that I went to high school with who probably would have had a really outstanding life, but their life was taken away in a car accident back home in 2005, which amazing to me that that was almost 20 years ago. But this person was one of the valedictorians of my graduating class and was doing really well in life. And in the blink of an eye, that was just it. And I mean, think for a minute about 19 years, or if perhaps you're not 19 years old, maybe think of it in 5 years or 10 years, and just take stock on how much life you missed out on, and all the memories, all the things that happened to you, all the good, even all of the maybe not so good, the memories. Just think of all that stuff that you miss, all that time, and it's just like, whoa, that is just absolutely staggering to me mentally, as far as like how much time in life get, you know, if I were to have passed away 19 years ago, like, that's a lot of life that you miss out on. So when you look at time from that perspective, it's just like, whoa, take advantage of the time you're given and the gifts that you're given and the ability and just everything that life has to offer, even if you're feeling down and out. And look, we all need to go through down times in order to learn. So you can't underestimate the time that you have to perhaps when you get laid off from a job, or you're injured and you can't go out and do things, whatever the case is, when you're just mentally fatigued, take advantage of that time to just rest and to take stock of your life. Sometimes taking advantage of your time just means regrouping and re energizing. There is also nothing wrong with that. But I think what I have really learned, whether you have a plan or you have a vision board or you're just taking a step back, take advantage of your time, live with balance, and take advantage of everything that life has to offer. There is something to be said for taking a step back and regrouping and re energizing, and there is something to be said for taking action and going after it in life. And I would not be where I am today if I didn't do either of those things. I went ahead, read the signs as I went through life, and went for it when it was time to go for it. Because if you don't go for it and you just sit around on your hands and you don't go after what you're dreaming about, you're going to possibly find out that you're going to regret it. And I think managing your time also means maybe doing things in a way like making tough decisions. Because I know that it may not have seemed like a tough decision at the time, but moving away from home, moving from everything that I knew, it's a little bit of a gutsy decision. And you're taking a gamble on the fact that you're going to come to the other side and not regret all that time you put in to move to another town away from everything you're familiar with. And that is something I think about a lot. I think about what would have happened if I would have just stayed and done something closer to home. Where would I be if I wouldn't have gone back to school? I have to believe that there would have been a ton of regret. And regret is unavoidable. We're all going to have regret at some point in our lives. I used to listen to famous people who would say, I have no regrets, no regrets. And you don't even have to be famous. There's non-famous people who say things like that too. And let me tell you, if you don't have some regret one way or the other, I actually feel like that might be another indication you're not using your time right. Because I think about decisions and chances that I made that didn't really work out. But I'm glad that I did it. In theory, it might feel like a waste of time that I did it because it didn't work out. But then I think about things that I didn't step up and do, and I look back and I'm like, okay, I should definitely have done that. Those things get to me in my gut more than the things I failed at. Sometimes it's better to just go for it and fail and at least see what the outcome might be rather than not going for it at all. And of course, the other side of it is do it within reason. Don't take too big of a risk out there. But certainly if it's like a reasonable thing, but you're apprehensive or anxious or not, you feel like you're going to fail or you might get, rejected, just do it anyway because there might come a time where you look back on that and you're going to say, holy smokes, I should have gone for it. And I think that's really what my life since September 11th, 2001 has been all about. Maybe not. This would have been a better solo episode for 9/11, but perhaps I can find another way to talk about that. But I just feel like time is very precious and it's very important to talk about and think about because you hear a lot of people talk about, oh wow, life goes really fast and life is this and time is that. But you actually have to live your life before you can really, I feel, before you can really take stock and say, wow, time is passing by fast. I really let this amount of time or that amount of time go should have gone in this direction or that direction. And I don't have all the answers on time management, although I do think I'm pretty good at time management. I'm certainly trying to keep myself on time here. And really, with every episode I do, you notice that I try to the best of my ability to make sure those episodes stay timed within 45 to 60 minutes. And that's just me being conscious of other people's time. So, really, I don't even know if I know what the message of this episode really is, except I just wanted to talk about myself, my experience with time, and just to put it in your mind that, hey, think about how precious your time is, because there was a time when I was in high school in my senior year, and now it is 2024, and I am 45 years old. Heck, there was a time when I turned 40 years old, and I was blown away by where I was and how much time and how much life I had lived. And now I'm 45, that's 5 years later already, and we lived through a pandemic. I've had a few job changes. I've launched this podcast. I've moved to another state. A lot of stuff has happened. And time, you may not feel it day to day, but man, it really just will sneak up on you. And the time is now if you're thinking about pursuing your dreams or your goals, you want to start doing something, pursue a hobby. If anything is in your gut or in the back of your mind that you want to do, the time is today, because time is very precious, and you just never know when an era is going to end or when an opportunity is going to expire. You just don't know. So, really, to wrap this up, time is precious. That's really the bookend on this 18-ish minute solo episode of Mark My Words. If I can leave with one thing, time is precious, and I'm going to give you back some time. And thank you for listening to this solo episode of Mark My Words. I will be back soon at another time, and I will do another solo episode. Thanks as always for listening, and bye for now.